After 60, older men want one thing from you. What if I told you that everything a man over 60 does in a relationship, from the way he suddenly withdraws when corrected, to the quiet way he insists on carrying your groceries or fixing something you didn't ask to be fixed, doesn't come from stubbornness or pride, but from one deeply rooted emotional need that he rarely speaks about and may not even fully understand himself? A need that, once recognized, has the power to completely transform how you see every moment of connection, tension, or silence with him. In today's video, we're going to gently unwrap that one need, the invisible thread running through nearly every romantic behavior of mature men. And I'll walk you through the 5 most common ways it shows up, often misunderstood, often dismissed, but always present beneath the surface of even the most ordinary interactions. If you're a woman over 50 who has ever left a perfectly pleasant dinner feeling puzzled by a sudden change in tone, or ever watched a thoughtful, caring man pull away over something that seemed far too small to matter, then you are exactly where you need to be. Because the insight I'm about to share is not only the missing piece in so many late-life relationships, but the reason why love after 50 often feels more complicated than it needs to be. Not because men stop caring, but because they've grown quieter about what they truly need. Picture this. You're at dinner with Richard, a 68-year-old retired engineer whose calm demeanor and well-mannered charm have made the evening feel easy, even promising, until you casually mention that the GPS directions he gave were slightly off, a comment so small you almost forget you said it. But in the space of seconds, something in his face hardens, his shoulders pull back, and the air between you cools in a way you can't quite explain. Or maybe you're spending time with Michael, a kind widower who seems almost devoted to the idea of helping, holding every door, lifting every bag, gently assisting with your coat. And when you smile and tell him you've got it, that it's okay, he doesn't argue, but something in him shifts, softens, almost folds inward, as if you've taken away something far more meaningful than a simple task. After 30 decades of counseling women through the beautiful, tangled landscape of late-life romance, and watching more relationships falter over moments like these than over anything dramatic or obvious, I can tell you with confidence that these small reactions are not about the moment itself, but about something much deeper, something older, something unspoken that lives in the heart of nearly every man who has spent a lifetime trying to protect, provide, and prove his worth in a world that rarely asks how he's feeling underneath it all. So today, I want to take you past the surface, through the 5 ways this hidden need reveals itself, gently, subtly, and often silently, and help you see how, once you understand what's truly happening beneath his actions, your ability to connect, soothe, and build something lasting with a mature man will no longer feel like guesswork, but like holding the missing key you didn't even know existed. Because here's what most people miss. When you finally understand what someone is really asking for, not through their words, but through their patterns, their reactions, and the pauses in between, love becomes less about fixing and more about understanding. Less about trying harder and more about finally seeing clearly. And once you see clearly, everything else begins to soften. Let's begin. Thing number 1. They want to feel respected again, not managed. Let me tell you about David, who came into my office with his girlfriend Sarah. A woman who clearly cared for him but was growing increasingly frustrated because, in her words, he wouldn't let her help with directions, wouldn't ask for assistance at stores, and seemed to shut down or become defensive anytime she suggested a better way to do something. "I'm just trying to help," Sarah said, her voice tight with exhaustion. "So why does he take everything as criticism?" What Sarah didn't realize, and what so many well-meaning women don't see when they're trying to connect with mature men, is that David had spent over 40 decades building his life around the idea that he was the one people turned to for answers. Having made a successful career as a contractor, managing teams, solving problems, making decisions that carried weight. And now at 67, that identity was quietly being stripped away. His grown children were making his medical appointments. His ex-wife lived in the house he built with his own hands. The world no longer asked him what he thought, it simply moved on without him. And every time Sarah corrected his driving or gave him a better way to load the dishwasher, she wasn't just offering a helpful tip, she was unknowingly confirming his quiet, aching fear that he was no longer relevant. You see, older men have spent decades providing, leading, navigating uncertainty, not for praise, but because it was who they were. What they long for now isn't power or control, it's dignity. It's to feel like their presence still carries weight, that their judgment still matters, and that their experience isn't something to be corrected, but something to be respected. Respect in this chapter of a man's life is less about deference and more about recognition. It doesn't mean agreeing with everything or abandoning your own opinions. It means offering your input with care, honoring his years of lived experience before layering your own, and understanding that different doesn't mean wrong. It just means his way is rooted in something deeply personal. So instead of saying, "That's not the best route," you might say, "I usually take a different way, but I'm curious, is there something you like about this one?" Instead of, "You're doing that wrong," try, "I've never seen it done like that. Can you show me why you prefer that way?" Small shifts in language can become huge bridges in trust, and often that's all he's looking for, a reason to trust that he's still seen, still valued, still capable of being the man he knows how to be. And once a man feels respected again, not managed, not fixed, but respected, something in him opens that you may not have seen before. Have you ever seen a man's whole demeanor change when his experience was honored instead of corrected? Share your observations in the comments below. Because once that need is met, it makes room for the next one. Thing number 2, they want peace, not pressure. When Margaret told me about her relationship with Frank, she was genuinely puzzled. "He says he loves me, but he never wants to go out anymore. No parties, no social events. He just wants to stay home and watch TV. I feel like I'm dating a hermit." What Margaret didn't understand is that Frank had spent 35 years in sales, constantly on, always performing, managing relationships, handling pressure. After years of responsibility, what mature men seek is calm companionship, not emotional chaos. At 65, Frank wasn't being antisocial. He was protecting something precious, his peace. After decades of proving himself, impressing clients, and managing stress, what feels most luxurious to him now is simply being able to exhale. This speaks to something profound that the philosopher Lao Tzu understood when he wrote, "In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the pursuit of wisdom, every day something is dropped." By our 60s, we've learned to drop the need for constant stimulation, endless social validation, the exhausting dance of impression management that defines so much of our earlier lives. They're not looking to impress or compete anymore. They don't want to analyze the relationship constantly or have intense emotional discussions every week. They want someone who brings steadiness, not storms. As the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. At this stage of life, love itself becomes a form of meditation, two souls finding peace in shared presence. Idea:
At this age, peace is more seductive than drama. A quiet dinner, a warm hand. That's intimacy now. This doesn't mean settling for boredom or giving up your own social needs. It means understanding that mature love often expresses itself through comfortable silence, predictable routines, and the profound intimacy of simply being together without needing to prove anything to anyone. The ancient Greeks had different words for love: eros, philia, agape. What mature men seek now is closer to what they called storge, the quiet, steady love born of familiarity and deep acceptance. It's the love that doesn't need fireworks because it has learned to find wonder in the way morning light falls across a shared breakfast table. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, observed, "How much trouble he avoids, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does, but only to what he does himself." Aging with dignity and love means appreciating the beauty of calm companionship, two people who've weathered enough storms to treasure the quiet moments together, who understand that true intimacy isn't found in constant excitement, but in the sacred ordinariness of choosing each other day after day, without fanfare or drama. This is the paradox of mature love. By wanting less from each other, we somehow give each other more space to breathe, more permission to simply exist, more appreciation for the miracle of finding someone who doesn't need us to be anything other than exactly who we are in this moment. But peace without purpose can feel empty, which leads us to the third thing mature men deeply crave.
Thing number 3. They want to feel needed without being used. Here's something that confuses many women. He insists on lifting your heavy packages, but gets upset when you ask him to fix things around your house. He wants to help you move furniture, but becomes resentful when you expect him to handle your computer problems. Let me explain the difference, because understanding this is crucial for 50-plus dating truths. Tom, at 71, told me something that broke my heart. My ex-wife had a honey-do list for me every weekend for 30 years. Fix this, build that, handle this problem. I felt like a handyman who happened to live in her house. Now when women start expecting me to solve their problems, all I can think is, here we go again. This speaks to something deeper about the masculine soul that the psychologist Carl Jung understood when he wrote about the archetypal wounded healer. Mature men still want to help you, but not because they're useful, because it lets them feel purposeful again. After retirement, after children have grown up and moved away, after decades of being defined by what they could do, provide, or fix, many men face what I call the utility crisis. Their sense of worth has been so tied to their ability to solve problems that when they're no longer needed as problem solvers, they begin to question their very reason for existing. But here's the profound truth. There's a fundamental difference between being needed as a person and being used as a resource. When you let him help you with something in the moment, carrying groceries, reaching a high shelf, opening a stubborn jar, you're allowing him to express care through action, which is often how men our age learn to show love in an era when emotional expression wasn't encouraged. These spontaneous acts of service connect him to something primal and beautiful, the deep masculine desire to be protective, useful, caring. But when you expect him to be your maintenance crew, tech support, and problem solver, you've crossed a sacred line from allowing his love to demanding his service. The difference is in the energy exchange. When he offers help spontaneously, it's a gift freely given. When you expect it, create lists of tasks, or become frustrated if he can't solve something, you've transformed love into labor. I think of Arthur, who told me, "When Susan's car wouldn't start and she looked worried, I felt 10 feet tall fixing it for her."
But when she started leaving me lists of things that needed fixing, I felt like I was back at work, except this time I wasn't getting paid. Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps and understood human dignity in its deepest forms, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. When help becomes expected rather than chosen, it strips away that fundamental freedom and transforms generosity into obligation. Letting him help you isn't weakness, it's a gift to his masculinity. The key is spontaneous, appreciated helpfulness versus expected, obligated service. One makes him feel valued as a person, the other makes him feel used as a tool. This distinction becomes even more important when we understand the psychology of aging with dignity. As men lose physical strength, professional relevance, and sometimes cognitive sharpness, their sense of masculine identity can feel under assault. The opportunity to help someone they care about, when it comes from choice rather than obligation, can be profoundly healing to that wounded sense of purpose. But there's wisdom here for us too. The mature woman who understands this difference creates space for genuine masculine generosity while maintaining her own independence. She appreciates help when it's offered, but doesn't depend on it. She sees his desire to help as an expression of love, not a guarantee of service. As the ancient Chinese proverb reminds us, a gift freely given is twice blessed. It blesses the giver and the receiver. But when a gift becomes a demand, both the blessing and the relationship suffer. Think about the men in your life. Can you feel the difference between when they offer help from love versus when they feel obligated to help? Drop a comment about what you've noticed. Sometimes recognizing this pattern can transform our entire approach to relationships. The profound truth is this: when we honor someone's choice to help, rather than expecting their service, we give them back their dignity. And dignity, my friends, might be the most attractive quality of all in mature relationships.
Thing number 4. They want emotional safety, not tests. This might be the most important thing I can share with you about emotional safety for men after 60. Most mature men have been through heartbreak, loss, divorce, or betrayal. Many have survived the death of spouses, the disappointment of children who rarely call, the reality of bodies that don't work like they used to. What they crave now is a space where they won't be judged for being soft, sentimental, or even quiet. But here's what I see happening repeatedly. Women who've been hurt themselves unconsciously create tests. They withdraw affection to see if he'll chase them. They create drama to see if he cares enough to fight for the relationship. They interpret his need for quiet time as rejection. Robert, a 69-year-old widower, said it perfectly. "I've been tested enough by life. I don't have energy for relationship games anymore. I just want someone who won't punish me for having feelings." After decades of being strong for everyone else, mature men often carry a tender vulnerability they're terrified to show. They've learned that emotional expression can be used against them, that admitting uncertainty can be seen as weakness. They won't say it, but they hope you'll be the one who doesn't make them earn your softness with silence. Emotional safety doesn't mean avoiding all conflict or never expressing your needs. It means creating a relationship where both people can be human, tired, uncertain, scared, hopeful, without fear of abandonment or judgment. This is what healing relationships after trauma looks like. Two people who've been hurt choosing to be gentle with each other's wounds instead of poking at them. Thing number 5. They want to be seen, not overlooked. After 60, many men feel invisible, especially romantically. Society tells them they're past their prime, their usefulness has expired, their best days are behind them. In a culture obsessed with youth and achievement, mature men often feel like they've become ghosts in their own lives. But here's what most women miss. They don't need compliments about their appearance or achievements. They need someone to notice them, really see them. What does being seen actually look like? It's noticing how he sits quietly with pain from his arthritis without complaining. It's seeing how he still opens doors out of decades-old habit, not because he thinks you're helpless. It's recognizing how he tries to make you smile when you've had a hard day. Don't just look at what he does, see who he is beneath it. I think of Eleanor, who told me about her relationship with William. Other women see a quiet older man, but I see someone who brings me coffee every morning exactly how I like it, who remembers that I worry about my daughter, who still says please and thank you like his mother taught him 70 years ago. I see the boy he used to be in the gentle way he handles my cat. Being seen means being appreciated for the small kindnesses, the quiet dignity, the way someone has learned to move through the world after decades of experience. It's recognition without requirement, appreciation without expectation. When was the last time you truly saw someone, really noticed the small, beautiful ways they exist in the world? Hit the like button if you believe everyone deserves to be seen for who they are, not just what they do. The one thing they truly want: emotional safety in love. Now here's the profound truth that connects all 5 of these needs. Every single thing mature men want: respect, peace, purposeful help, emotional safety, being seen, all leads to one deep need: to feel emotionally safe in love, to be accepted as they are, not who they used to be, not who you think they could become, but who they are right now, in this moment, with all their accumulated wisdom and weariness and wonder. This is spiritual connection in love, not matching beliefs or practices, but creating sacred space where another person can exist without pretense, without performance, without fear of judgment. As the poet Rumi wrote, "In your light, I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest where no one sees you, but sometimes I do. And that sight becomes this art, this music, this form." That's what mature men are seeking. Someone in whose presence they can simply exist, fully and authentically, without needing to prove their worth or earn their place in your heart. They don't need someone to complete them. They need someone to sit quietly with them, without needing to fix a thing. This understanding transforms everything. Instead of trying to improve him, you appreciate him. Instead of managing his choices, you respect his autonomy. Instead of creating drama to test his love, you offer peace. Instead of expecting him to solve your problems, you let him express care naturally. Instead of overlooking his quiet presence, you see the beauty in who he's become.
Here's what I've learned from watching hundreds of couples find happiness in their golden years. The most beautiful relationships aren't built on passion or drama or the excitement of the unknown. They're built on the profound comfort of being fully known and completely accepted. Mature love doesn't ask you to be younger, more energetic, more anything. It asks you to be real. And when two people can offer each other that gift, the safety to be authentically themselves, something magical happens. You create a sanctuary where both hearts can finally rest. Dr. Maya Angelou said it beautifully. When we know better, we do better.
Now you know better. You know that the man sitting quietly across from you isn't disengaged. He's peaceful. The man who insists on helping you isn't being controlling. He's expressing love the only way he knows how. The man who seems guarded isn't unfeeling. He's protecting a heart that's been broken before. When you offer emotional safety to someone who spent decades feeling like they had to earn love through performance, you give them something more precious than passion. You give them permission to simply be. And my dear friend, that might just be the most loving thing you can offer another human being. The promise of true connection. Remember, you don't need to manage, fix, or improve anyone to love them. You just need to see them clearly, appreciate them fully, and create space where they feel safe to exist authentically. The one thing mature men truly want is what we all want, really. To be loved, not for who we might become, but for who we are right now. To find someone who makes us feel at home in our own skin. When you understand this, late life romance becomes less about finding someone to complete your life and more about sharing the completeness you've already found within yourself. If this message touched your heart, if you believe that everyone deserves to feel emotionally safe in love, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit that notification bell for weekly wisdom on mature love, authentic connection, and the beautiful truth that our capacity for love only deepens with age. Share this with someone who might need to feel seen today, whether that's a friend who's dating again or a man in your life who deserves to be appreciated for exactly who he is. Leave a comment and tell me, what would change in your relationships if you focused on creating emotional safety instead of trying to create excitement? Remember, the heart that offers sanctuary becomes a sanctuary itself. And yours, my dear friend, has room for all the love this life has to offer.